Now everyone likes to spend the summer holiday down beside the side of the silvery sea. I know exception to the rule. In fact, if I may way, I reside by the side of the silvery sea. But when you're just a commodore garden, Mr. Jones the Brown, and business up in town, you've got to settle down. You save your money all the year till summer comes around. Then away you go to a place you know where the cockle shells are found. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside. I do like to be beside the sea. I do like to stroll along the prom, 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 when the brass band plays fiddle-de-om, pom, pom. So just let me be beside the seaside. I'll be beside them with glee. And there's lots of girls beside. I should like to be beside the seaside.
Hello there. How are you today?
Good, thank you. You're sideways today.
I've got my phone landscape instead of portrait right now.
There he is.
Hey, Bob. Doug.
Hello.
Howdy, everybody.
You almost got us with that daylight savings time thing.
Yeah, apologies about that. It happens, unfortunately. So, yeah, it's meant that
Evening, morning, afternoon, everyone.
I've had about 4 hours
Hello.
sleep. So,
Yeah, here in Arizona, we don't change time.
One of the many things I like about Arizona.
I agree.
it made it very confusing here last weekend. We had the Australasian Mineral Society's seminar, so we had on Zoom, and we changed to daylight saving between the Saturday and the Sunday sessions. So the timetable was very different both days because we had people from New Zealand through to Western Australia.
And isn't Northern Australia on its own kind of a half time zone, or is that old?
Yeah, Northern Territory and South Australia are half an hour behind Victoria and New South Wales. And now South Australia are on daylight saving and Northern Territory isn't.
Oh my God.
We've got different time zones in Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia and Western Australia, and then the rest of the East Coast, so New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania are all on the same time zone. And it does get a little bit confusing.
Oh my God.
A half hour would really mess things up.
It's actually it's worse than that because Broken Hill is in New South Wales, but it's on South Australia time zone.
Jeez. So you just have the app open all the time, is that it?
Yeah, something like that. Or if you're there if you're actually in the location, it's not too bad because your mobile phone obviously changes to what is in that area, but it can be very good.
That's true.
Jason, good to see you could join us.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate.
Good.
Sounds like you're going to be busy.
Is that Jim? Yes, just got Dan Bonke's collection. So it's quite a bit of material. Mostly slides, however, about 40,000 slides.
So where
Jim, was that Jim a glass in us all?
It is.
Yeah.
So we've only got.
Hi, Jim.
Only got 15
I think I was emailing you. I was emailing you not too long ago. I think you said that you ran some ramen on something from the Redmond mine and it came back to Xenotime.
Yes, it was the specimens with the wolfenites.
Yeah. So strange. I need to send you some more of the wolfenites to see if we can narrow that down.
Well, I gotta be able to get back in the lab.
Yeah, I understand that. That's a problem for everyone right now. We're currently up to 18 new species from that mine.
I've been watching.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And yesterday, I got an email from Tony, and we have Sid Petersite there now too.
Wow.
So that's the first U.S. locality for that mineral.
That's a very strange place and really interesting material.
It is. We're up to. Not only do we have all the other thiosulfates found on the planet, except for the new one, North Starite, but we have 6 new ones. So it's pretty unusual what's going on there. How is everyone doing?
Doing okay here. A
Right here.
little bit concerned at the moment. We've only got 19 people. We're up. Where are we? Got a few more people to let in. Hold on a second.
Who's speaking tonight, Steve?
Martin, but he's not joined us yet.
Ooh, hopefully
Right.
he got the word.
I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I've just sent him a message, but chapter 20. He's responding to me now.
Oh, is he? Right.
I've got the little ... going.
Hey, son.
Hi, Julian.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see
Good.
you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yep, he's going to be joining us, which is good. Good morning to everybody that I've just let in. I couldn't see everybody on the in the waiting room because Zoom had moved it on me. So Martin's just responded with, "You're up early." So I don't think he got the message.
Uh-oh.
But he is going to join us. So that's good. Yeah, I've had a bit of a late night. One of my granddaughters got sick last night, and I had to go and babysit the other one. Well,
Oof.
just keep an eye on her while they took her off to get checked out. And so I didn't get into bed until probably about 1:30, and then I was up at 5:30, so I'm a bit tired.
I don't think I ever go to bed before 5:30. I'm the consummate night owl.
Morning, everybody.
Morning. Hi, Paul.
Morning.
I was a bit worried for a second that it was just going to be us Australians and Southeast. Yeah.
We just had that conversation, Paul. I was waiting for Martin, and he came back with, "Oh, you're up early."
You should move this to 7 o'clock.
I didn't know whether I should do that because that obviously impacts people that are not changing.
Yeah.
Just make it much later.
One, so.
He's just asked, is it still 9 p.m. my time? So I'm going to say it's now. Well done to all of those people that managed to get on an hour early.
Sure.
No, he's going to come now. We're up to 22, so it's not too bad.
Hi, Doug.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Can't complain.
I hear you.
Recovering from knee surgery.
Oh, goodness. Well, gives you time to sit down and look at rocks, I guess.
And you don't have to end these talks standing up, which is good.
So did you say how your granddaughter was, Steve?
She's just got a virus, not the
Right.
not the virus, just a virus.
No. Yeah.
But she was vomiting. She's only 3, and she was vomiting everywhere, and
Yes.
had a bit of a cough. So
yeah.
but yeah, I think she was fine by the time they brought her back. She'd sort of go over it a bit.
Yeah.
We'll find out a bit more today.
Yeah. Yep.
So still no Martin yet. Ah, here he is.
Hey, we have a quorum.
Yeah, we only need 2 for a quorum, I think, and that's me plus whoever's doing the presentation.
Who gets voted off the island next?
That got me moving around quick.
Yeah, good. Good morning, Martin.
Surprised me, I must say. I didn't know I didn't even read the time thing of it.
Oh, there you go.
9 o'clock. We don't change for another month yet.
I thought it was fairly clear by putting things in all caps, but
I didn't read it. I didn't read it, mate. Didn't read it.
Well, there's probably a few others from the UK that are not on as well. So
Dick Belson as well. I bet he rang me earlier. He's coming on, but he's not here yet, is he?
No, not yet.
So you can do the talk twice, once now, once in an hour when everybody else turns up.
It only takes 15 minutes anyway, so I'll just key it up.
That's all right. All right. That's the same me.
So while we're waiting for a couple more minutes, Bruce, are you still okay for the next one?
Yes. I was planning to do something on mines of Nevada, probably just a general overview, since I've only been to a very small number of them, but they're so fascinating and varied. I thought it might be a good presentation.
Excellent, thank you. And Frank, will you be okay for the one after?
Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. So that's the next month sorted, which is good. And I don't think we changed back to daylight saving for 6 months, so we should be okay there. Martin, I was just telling the other guys before that we had our Australasian seminar last weekend. We changed daylight saving between day 1 and day 2, so that was fun.
Right, I'll read the information more carefully next time.
Thank you. We'll just give.
I had one of my bosses said to me once, you shouldn't assume anything. It always makes an ass out of you and me. Between you and me, yeah.
We'll give it another couple of minutes and then we'll get you to kick off.
It should be ready to go. I had it all set up just in case the computer played up, because it tries to update about this time of night. Hi Jason, how's things?
Good, how are you?
I'm not
Very
bad.
busy.
You cracking on with your shipment and stuff you got to unload?
Yeah, it's I got Dan Bonnke's collection.
Yeah.
And it's quite a bit of stuff. 16,000 specimens and 40,000 slides.
Look forward to seeing them in time.
Yes, and indeed. It's actually the other half of the collection got crated down here. We didn't have room for it in the van.
Wow.
Jason, did something happen to Dan?
Yeah, he passed away in January.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. And actually, another dealer came in and I will say very carefully high graded the collection of some things, and then promised to buy the rest, and then never did. So so they got in touch with me, or someone else who got in touch with me, and I was like, sure, I'll come get the rest.
Yeah, that happens.
It does.
Doesn't it, Richard?
It's irritating, but it does. Because I'm a collector and a dealer, though, you know, it's a double whammy for me, so I can't turn down those opportunities.
No. You're keeping quiet, Richard.
Hey, I'm sitting here listening. I'm sitting here listening.
Okay.
Hey, Steve Rust.
Yeah,
Hey,
Steve's
Steve.
there, right beneath you.
Got his mic off.
Steve.
Get your mic off, Steve. He's heard it before, I reckon. He's gone.
Maybe. I was trying to tell him that we found Sid Peters at Redmond.
All right.
Yeah, we sort of expected that one to show up, and it finally did. Actually, really nice crystals, little square plates.
I went in there once in Redmond, but 2000, 2001.
Really?
Yeah, Billy Gold took us in from Hendersonville.
Oh.
When
Well,
we used
you
to
know,
come up.
there were 18 new minerals right above your head, and you didn't know it.
Didn't know about it. No, we walked in through the water, and we had no lights apart from a small hand torch, no tools. So Billy Gold had a hammer and a chisel, and we got a few bits and pieces out. I mainly got chrysocolla with angle sight on them.
Yeah.
That was nice. I got some stuff self-collected from Redmond mine, so that's okay.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got permission from the family, and I have exclusive collecting rights there for research
That's
now.
brilliant.
And
That's good. Yeah.
and the and all the new minerals are found in the ore material. So if you took any of the ore material itself, the galena, chalcopyrite.
No, I just took
it's
part
really
of the vein, that's all. Just a bit of the vein. I still got it all.
Yeah.
Still kicking around.
Look it over carefully, because all of the new minerals are in crystals. So it's gonna be some fascinating science to come out of there.
Not on at the moment, is he? They'll tell you the story of that one, but I won't relay it right now because.
All right. It's.
Let's just say that cold water.
You're frozen, Martin. That's not good.
Oh no.
Martin, we can't see you moving.
You do it.
Uh-oh. I've spoken too soon, I think.
He said his internet is a little wacky this time of night.
Oh. Martin, you're back.
Yeah, my signal just dropped. It's crazy. I do a line check, and I got 68 megabits per second coming into the house, and that then varies between the different devices what speed I get.
Okay.
Now I had 29 megabits in here this morning. Now it's just dropped out.
Oh, fingers crossed it'll hang around for the.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully, if we start using that, might work okay. Now Steve is back now, but he's got his.
Got his mic off.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. I'll get you to kick off, Martin. But just before you do, just remind everybody, please, just mute and turn off your videos while Martin is doing the presentation. Particularly, try and give him a bit more bandwidth. And if you've got questions, just unmute and ask the question, and we'll talk again at the end. So over to you, Martin.
Okay. Just get this thing set up. Right.
Yep, that's all good.
You got it, have you?
We have, yes, thank you.
Right, I'll just come down to single screen on this one then. That's it. I'm bunging it over the side. Okay, well, this is basically the talk. It says fossils, minerals and rocks of Norfolk, England. It's a widely known fact that there's not much mineralogy in Norfolk, but about 20 odd years ago, Richard Belson's wife was down on the coast with Richard. He was picking up stones and bits of rock, and she hit open one of these flint nodules and found these little crystals in some cavities in the flint. And from that, a few of us have done a little bit of work on the place. The blue dot on the screen is where I live. This is Norwich. Blue dot is about 15 miles away. The place of interest is that between these two places, Cromer and Munsley. This is the North Sea, and from this point here, there's no more land to the Arctic Circle. It's that exposed, and all the ice sheets have come down in different directions onto our coast. So the actual area you're seeing now is what was left after the glaciations retreated. So anyway, there again, so the actual area we're interested in at this moment in time is this bit between Side Strand and Trimmingham on the beach. Right, the access, this is the what we call this the coast road, and the access is down this little road here, and this used to be the road going down along the coast into Overstrand village, but now you can see now the cliff has gone down and the road and track went down. So what you do now, you actually park in this little bit of a, where are we? It's got to pick up where I am. You drive into this bit here, park along here, and walk down this to the beach. And just take a note of this pile of stones. All this lot along here was once part of the cliffs, and it's all now slumped away. And all these gullies you see are all where they've put in rocks to try and get the drainage, because this lot is all sitting on boulder clay, very unstable material, and any rain and it just slips to the beach. Anyway, this is the way that you get down to the beach now, is down this track. In the old days, we used to go across fields and just clamber down the cliffs, but that was quite a while ago. The area we're looking at is along this bit of coastline, just along here. And that is the area where we find most of the stuff I'll be talking about in a minute or two. Up until about 1983, these sea defences stopped here at this point. And all this lot here, where at low tide, was a big chalk raft where there was pools and puddles of rocks and all sorts of stuff, iron pyrite, marcasite, fossils, all sorts in this area. But they put they extended these sea defences along, and all this has now been covered by sand, and you occasionally get a little bit of exposure up along here. These are these boulders they put in. It's lavakite from Norway somewhere. It's and all what was happening is this is all breaking up, crumbling up, and being scattered all along the coast. And people keep finding these bits of rock and think they've found something extremely rare. But all it is just this stuff is broken up and has been distributed along the coast with the longshore drift. There's the size of some of the boulders. They're fairly substantial, and they're about 6 to 8 foot high at times, and you have to try and make your way over them to get up the beach. There's all those sea defences that you saw earlier. There are gaps through them, but it's a bit awkward if you're a bit infirm and can't get over the things. So you've got to try and find a gap and go for it. This is what they're trying to protect, but these things, you can see the beach level is the same both sides, but sometimes this pushes right up and it just flattens these out. These are looking back the other way, this is the chalk rafts in the cliff. I'll come to them in a minute. There's a whole series of them running along the cliff. So that's the other way. And the base of this cliff here, we used to come down a track down here in the old days, drop down on the beach there, but that got a bit too hairy, so we use the road now. But the area of beach just along here, every so often you can go up there and find very fine grained sand, which has got a lot of magnetite in it. Also lots of different coloured sand fragments, little tiny garnets and that sort of thing. I haven't got any. I was trying to find some photograph, but I haven't got any at the moment. It's somewhere in the garage. But these, as you can see, these rafts here, these rafts of chalk, there's about 10 of them all along the coast from up around Weybourne now. So over Strand, down the coast towards Munsley, of an area of about 7 or 8 miles. There was once upon a time there was 10 chalk rafts that were deposited against the cliffs, and then they turned them right over. So what you're looking at there is a structure that's been this layer here is about 67 million years old, and all this lot above it is about 1 million years old and younger. So there's where the glaciers tip the chalk onto the beach here, and these things are what you see, these bands of flint running through is where the mineralization has occurred in the stuff I'm going to show you in a minute or two. That's the other side of that chalk raft, and it's literally, this is the top, that's the bottom. In there, if you're lucky, you'll find these belemnites, little tiny extinct sort of cuttlefish type things, squid type things. I haven't done much in the way of fossils on this because I couldn't get them prepared in time. But there again, there is one of the chalk rafts which is there now. This was taken, I think, in 2004. I went down on this, and this was several years ago now, 16 years ago. But I went down for a day's collecting, and this was exposed on this particular day. And what we actually looked for, well, I was just going to say, this specimen came from an area just about there. That laid in these pools of water on the chalk raft in that area, and all these next few shots were found in that area. Again, marcasite, pyrite, don't really know what it is. Sometimes it will stay stable, other times it just rots away. These two pieces are in my cabinet in the lounge, and they are still stable, but there's others are in the garage, and they melted the way through paper bags, plastic bags, and in cardboard boxes, and even through the base of a hardboard tray. They're all various shapes and sizes. We think this is possibly marcasite, but no one's really sure. This one's a little bit further up the coast towards West Runton, on the beach. There's also been some found up there, but this is not really part of this talk. On this particular day in about 1978, 79, we'd been somewhere else prior to coming to here, and my friend had jumped down and cut himself on his leg. I had to take him to hospital. So while he was there being patched up, I came down to the beach and just had a walk around, and I found this, and that in a couple of the puddles on the beach. This pyritite ammonite is now a pile of dust in a box in my cupboard somewhere. It's just rotted away. We also get these little tiny garnets in garnet schist. This one's been cut and I attempted a polish on this surface. That's the other side of it, you can see the garnets are on there. That's another one of these garnet schists, these little currents in the. That's another one of these erratics that come down. It's a porphyry. The museum where I volunteer have got a big collection of about 1,200 different rocks from this area. Pyritized shell, fossil shell in the mudstone. This was a part of a bigger piece that I broke up. You also get calcite from septarian nodules. You occasionally find septarian nodules on the beach, and they have the calcite in them. But the main things that we go there to collect in the past, and if I go there again now, are these flints, and we call them dog bone flints. In England, we've got this thing that the dog biscuit, just the Willow biscuits, just a dog bone shape, and they're normally thin, no more than about inch and a half, 2 inches thick, and in this sort of this funny shape. And when you break them open, you get these little tiny holes inside, and not quite sure what they are, but I think they could be the remains of some fossil coprolite or stomach content of a fish or a turtle or something, because inside these you get little tiny mineralized cavities. This is another one of these belemnites in the flint, so it's been completely encompassed by the flint, but you can just about start to see in this cavity here some odd shapes starting to come in. These two pictures are the tray I collected in 2004, and I break these down a little bit smaller than this, but the trouble is when you try and break them too much, flint just shatters all over the place. So I tend to keep them quite large. Inside the pockets, you get these little brown siderite crystals in this cavity. They're very, very small, but sometimes they do get a little bit bigger, enough to get a decent photograph of. And also you get barite, and there's a little spray just there, which I'll show the bigger picture. There it is. That's the bigger picture of the barite. Also barite and siderite mixed together. And this is a single barite crystal with inclusions of pyrite marcasite. Don't really know what it is, but it's certainly pyrite marcasite. That's a pyrrhotite. But a lot of this stuff was tested years ago when Mike Roth was alive at Unilever up in Liverpool, and he got all the minerals for us and had them all tested. Aragonite, and again, look at this stuff here. This is the structure of these cavities, and they're not a regular fossil shape. They're masses where something has been somewhere and been coughed up, because what you've got here is all crushed up material, and there's a vertebrae of a fish. These are all fish scales. These are little foraminifera and sea urchin spines. This one here, one or two, one. This is a bone, all crushed up inside. The spiral, the forearm, and this is a fish scale in there. These are vertebra, fish vertebra in these little pockets. So it's been pretty much chewed up, and then either out the back end or the front end of whatever creature deposited the things. That brings me on to the flint itself, which is very interesting to look at. This is a piece that I brought back, and I just get some lady's nail varnish and just put it over the surface to bring out these. And what you're looking at there is all these little tiny rods of calcium-based material and foraminifera, these little tiny things like this, and they're all just floating in the soup which the flint was formed from. Again, another one. You got pyrite rods in here. These are all these little. It's an absolute mess. again, pyrite rods or these needles of something or other with pyrite encrusting them. This was the real strange one. I discovered this one last year. I went back to this piece of flint, had another look at it, and these, I believe, is manganese.
Cool.
Again, back to these are the sponge spicules. So you've heard of the sponge spicules. Well, these are actually complete sponge spicules in the flint, amongst other little bits and pieces in there. Where we at? Right. Going slightly away now from Side Strand. This is down the beach a ways at a place called Munsley, which is just only about 3 or 4 miles away. But this is a fossilised chalcedony oyster shell. And another thing we get on these beaches is the chalcedony forming inside the flint nodules. We get jet, of which that's the only piece I've ever found, but other people have found lots of it. We also get amber, which I've never found, and I've not put a picture of it in for this. Moving inland a little bit now to Norwich, the whole series of chalk pits have been built. I must just say that before I go any further, that the actual chalk in East Anglia, it starts above the surface at about 120 feet, just to the east of King's Lynn, a place called Hunstanton, and it then runs down, gradually getting deeper and deeper and deeper, till it gets to Great Yarmouth, where it's about 1,200 feet below the surface, the layer of chalk. This is because then, at some point at the end of the Jurassic period, and after the chalk had been laid down in the Cretaceous, there was a big uplift, and there's a fault line runs down from King's Lynn down towards Cambridge. So one side of the fault is Jurassic, and the other side of the fault is Cretaceous, with all the overburden that the glaciers brought in. The angle of dip of the chalk from King's Lynn down to Yarmouth is about 1 in 29. So it's a very gentle dip, but you get it. They worked the pits, the marl pits, and the quarries in various places around the county of Norfolk. And these are ammonites that were found, flint ammonites. The scale bar is 7 inches, and I think I got 4 of these. 2, 3.
Same as you said.
That one, and you can see on that one, it's belemnites attached to the side of the thing. That's the 4 of them. We did this. We did a show. That's the Sussex Minerals show a few years back with the Norfolk Society, and we took the display down. And this is one of our central parts of the display. Right. Also, from time to time, they clear out all the, what we call them dikes. They're all like little streams and areas between field boundaries where they dug out, and they get this peat, dump it on the side of the banks, and Vivianite grows. This blue dusty coating of Vivianite grows on the material. I picked this up at some stage, and there's where it's from the Beauthorpe pits, and I think this might be the last picture. That is okay. That's it. Right. Stop sharing. Back. Any questions?
I thought it was really good, madam. Thank you.
Bit short, but that wasn't too bad.
No, that's all right.
It's interesting that they said there's no minerals in Norfolk, but there is.
Sheila joined about 2
We
minutes.
just saw them all.
Yeah, that's it. Every one of them.
Is it? Did you say it was at Cromer on the coast?
Cromer.
I'm pretty sure that I went there when I was probably about 11 or 12 years old.
Wow.
but
Yeah, it's,
wasn't for collecting anything. So
no, like I said, it's Cromer is one of the most northerly points on the Norfolk on the coast. And if you stand at Cromer and look north, the next bit of land you're going to see will be the Arctic Circle. It's a long, long, long way up. So when it gets cold, it gets fairly cold.
Oh yeah.
so with
Not as cold as Canada and the States get, but it gets cold.
with the flint, you said you use nail varnish coating on the surface.
Yeah.
Can you get pieces that are thin enough that you can sort of get them backlit at all?
It's a matter of flaking. Yeah, I could do. I could try and flake one off and break a bit off. I mean, the best place for that is around Grimes Graves, because the actual flint tools was a big industry in Norfolk back in Neolithic times, and there's Grimes Graves is a nationally, worldwide important site for where they made flint implements. And but the flint there is too pure. There's no, you can't see any sediment or anything inside the flint. But for me, the interest for me is that this actually does prove a little bit how flint was formed. I mean, I've read so many journals on different things, but no one will actually come out and say how flint is formed. And I'm pretty certain now that it's being heavier than water. It sits at the bottom of the ocean on just off the, it's like an ooze which sits in layers, and those flint bands seem to that they're very regular in occurrence. But one theory was that it's to do with the pH levels of the water, and as they change from acid to alkaline and back, they change the structure of the soup. But what actually makes it turn into solid is once the oxygen is used up and fully depleted from the soup at the bottom, it starts to try and solidify. And so you're getting this, whatever is in that liquid, in that soup, is going to be trapped within the matrix, which is what I think I've shown in those images.
I've only got one piece of flint from the UK, I think, in my collection. It was a piece that I sent a number of years ago. I can't remember the locality, but it's actually got quartz crystals in a cavity.
Yeah, you get quartz in as well. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't show any of them. I'm not really got much of that. The actual barite, or the holes in the flint. Dick Belston and his wife found them about, I think, about 1993, 94, something like that, and didn't really think an awful lot about it. And then I think Steve Rust came down somewhere around that time and went and found some, didn't you, Steve?
Yeah, yeah. Martin, have you ever sussed out why we get pyrrhotite in a low temperature thing like chalk?
No.
No? Right, okay.
No.
So it's still a mystery. It's still a mystery.
I've not got many of them. I've only actually got that one specimen that I actually found. I can see enough of to say, yeah, definitely, you know, it's pyrrhotite.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff is.
Yeah.
Go on, Sheila.
Now, is that in the flint, the pyrrhotite?
Yeah. Oh, it's in them little pockets. Or whatever.
What about iron fixing bacteria that are in the soup?
Oh my, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because the flint is coming from decomposing little tiny bits of creatures, isn't it, as well? You know, there's things like bacteria, iron fixing bacteria, and I mean that's down the trench.
The other things we get, not so much in that part, but down the coast up the coast at West Runton, there's two big chalk rafts out on the seabed. Every low tide, it exposes this huge old forest bed of chalk, and where the forest bed is gone, left the chalk behind. And they've got these massive, they're called paramudras, which are actually flints that form in big circles, all individually formed, but in a big, maybe 2-3 meter circle and a diameter, and they were made by these creatures that form a bacterial reaction, and as they kept pushing up the rear end all their muck, producing these tall hull mounds of flint. But as the oxygen was depleted from them, they were again then solidifying, and they call them paramudras, and they're like, and there's all mixtures of chalk and flint all over the place, and it's a bit of a mystery.
I'm going to have to go back and look through some of the flints I've got from Cape Lip Trap. And,
I would imagine
that.
I've got some stuff from I think it's Girard in Savannah, Georgia. I think so. And but they're phosphates. There's no phosphates in our stuff, but there's the stuff from Girard is chert. It's a browny, greyish brown chert. I picked it up at Hendersonville one year when I was over there several years ago. And put them back with that.
Yeah, I think the chert forms differently from flint in the sea.
Yeah,
Chert's more, and it's more land, isn't it? And to do with the land.
It seems that the actual mineralisation of those pockets of flint is fairly restricted to that area of the beach where I was describing. We get flint everywhere, and I've looked at flint from different quarries and places, and we do get siderite forming in other places, but we don't get the mineralisation that we've got at Side Strand. So something there was very unique to that place, which produced them circumstances to form those deposits.
There's quite
no sulfides at Girard either.
No.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of
I may have got them off you. I don't know, because I got quite a bit of stuff off you back in the day. So, Jason, they came. They may have come off. I got off the grab table at the Hendersonville swap show.
Yeah, Girard's a fascinating locality. It's actually great because you can collect minerals and native artifacts.
Yeah,
pretty much on top of each other.
Right.
Yeah, there's I wouldn't say it's abundant, but there is a fair bit of flint found around the coast of Australia, and the vast majority, if not all of it, is actually from ballast from the 1800s from the ships.
Yeah, so certainly down at Lip Trap, which is on the east coast of Victoria, between Melbourne and Wilson's Prom, there's limestones there. But they've not found flint in the limestones, and they were doing lots of shipping and quarrying around there. So it could be that the flint is not native.
There was a guy named Bob Torrington. He used to work for the Open University up in north of England, I think Sheffield way, and he did a lot of work on the material of the older chalk up in around the coast of Yorkshire, and he wrote a paper on what he thought the formation of chalk was, and he's got pretty close to the idea what I said a minute ago about it. That's where I got my idea from, and looking at the stuff that I've got, you can see how the stuff is formed. He says that as the pH levels changed, it either went to a semi-liquid solution and moved along with the currents. That's why you get these bubbles of flint, layers of flint in bubbles and bands as each event takes place. And but it got published as a paper, I think, with the Yorkshire Geological Society, but it never got published anywhere other than that. I've got a copy of it, and it's very interesting. I also found an article on barium in seawater, and apparently back there's lots of barium, about sort of maybe 0.5% of barium as in seawater. Well, that is probably enough to cause the barite to form. I can't think of any other way it got there, other than that apparently the brachial loop on a brachiopod is composed of some sort of barium sulfate mixture.
Lord.
I was told.
Amazing.
I'll add that bit. I was told that bit, so nothing that I've ever proved, but it was one of those things that I was told. But the actual loop, the brachial loop on a brachiopod, contains barium sulfate.
Martin, comment about your marcasites and pyrites that look like you said are decrepitating in your boxes.
Yeah.
I think there's been quite a bit of research on that, and it has shown that it really is a bacteria.
Yeah.
And so you can clean them up, but unless you figure out a way to kill the bacteria, it'll continue to rot.
Yeah, it's pretty arbitrary.
Yeah. Well, they usually what if they smell, if you pick up a marcasite and it smells bad, it's gonna go. And the other, go ahead.
Sorry, no, carry on.
My other question was on your pyrrhotite. Are you sure that's not a pyrite after pyrrhotite?
It's very, very small. I know that Mike Rothwell did the test on a piece that I think that Richard Belson sent some stuff to Mike to set the test, and he did come up with that. It was pyrrhotite. Where it's come from, we don't really know. Unfortunately, he passed away before we had a chance to get much more done about it.
Yeah, well, we see a lot of pyrite replacing pyrrhotite in carbonate replacement deposits, like Mapami and several of the Mexican things. And what that represents is a late stage change of the replacement of the pyrrhotite by pyrite, which is a fairly slow reaction. So the more of that we see in the deposits, it gives us an idea how long the system was active.
Yeah. But I think the big problem is no one really knows whether it's pyrite or marcasite, or it may even be a mixture of both. We did a test many years ago on a couple of pieces of this, and a friend of mine got one of these ohm meters, and we passed the current through the rock, and on one of the pieces we got a reaction where the current actually passed slightly through the rock, whereas on solid pyrite it didn't go through. Whether that's something that we didn't do right, I don't know, but as a reaction that we got, and that was just an interesting point. And I don't know if that's something, but it's very, I mean, as I said, I've got three pieces in my cabinet in the other room, and they're perfect. They've been there now for, I don't know, nearly 40 years probably. Yeah, get on for 40 years they've been in the cupboard since I collected them. But other pieces, you pick it up and it's gone in a matter of weeks.
That dark colored marcasite that you showed looks a lot like those pseudomorphs from the White Desert in Egypt.
They're fairly typical. Most of the things have got this. They're formed in the chalk, basically. They come out of the chalk. I've got a couple in the garage. I've actually left encompassed in the chalk, and I never burnt it off. But those ones that I show are natural. I haven't done anything to it. I just washed them, put them in a cabinet behind glass in my lounge, and they've been there ever since. The three small ones, the pyrite cube, the spare, and the ammonite, they were in boxes in with all my micromounts and the other stuff. And I went there one time a few years back, and there sat the ammonite in a pile of dust. But I think the marcasite is still stable, and the pyrite is, I think, it's a bit cracked, but it's still there. But they haven't gone that yet, so it's very arbitrary whether they go or not. I really don't know what the answer is to that.
It's very sad. I've got one of the dollars. That's just,
Yeah.
I've had it about 35 years and that's finally broken.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I
you
mean,
know,
the
shame.
Wheel Jane stuff is the same.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Wheel Jane material, it just cracks. I mean, I was looking at a piece today, and it's got a big split down the middle of it, and there's all little white whiskers growing inside it. Well, that's been out of the ground for 20, 30 years probably.
Yeah,
So
but
all of a
remember
sudden
where,
it just,
remember where it came from though. Where it came from in Jane, and it just stinks, doesn't it, of pyrite?
Yeah.
You know, rotten pyrite. It's just it rots the miners' boots.
Yeah.
And all electrical cables and terrible stuff, terribly acid.
It's an interesting little subject to get involved with. It's been interesting to put it together anyway. It's been nice.
That was good, thank you, man. I was actually quite surprised with the barite and the siderite.
The siderite is very common. The barite is not as common. But it's the fish remains which really intrigues me. I mean, that's got to be either a coprolite or vomit. It can't be anything else because it's all been chewed up and crushed up. So I mean, there were sharks swimming around. There was big fish swimming around. Whatever. I mean, we had a mosasaur in the waters around during that part of the Cretaceous period, because the bit we can get to really is the youngest is about 62.5 million years old, and then I said the oldest at Hunt Stanton's about 110. And but that mineralization only seems to occur in that one little patch in that particular format, so it's hard to know really what was there at the time. Even, I mean, if it has, it's obviously it's come out of one of those chalk rafts. So wherever it's been scraped up from, there may have been an environment out there which was different to somewhere else. I don't know. No one seems to know how far they travelled. I mean, they were pushed in by the glaciers, and till they hit solid land, and then it stopped.
Yeah. Anyway, Martin, it was an excellent talk. It probably is an area that a lot of people do consider to be fairly mineralogically barren, but you've put that not the case. So thank you very much for putting that together.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's good. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to go back to bed for a while. And in 2 weeks' time, we will have Bruce with something about the Nevada mines, which would be excellent too. So look forward to that.
Okay.
And no daylight saving changes here for 6 months. So.
we got ours in about a month, about 3 weeks' time. We got ours, I think. So
I'll let you worry about that. I won't change at this end. So.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, sorry I arrived late.
That's all right.
And me.
Did you? Yeah. I thought it was 9 o'clock.
And me.
Thank you very much.
I didn't read the paperwork.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thank you all. And
thanks.
in a couple of weeks.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Thank you, Steve.
Bye.
Take care.
Everyone, take care.
Steve, do you need somebody for after Bruce, 2 weeks after Bruce?
No, we've got Frank 2 weeks after, but if you want to do the one after that, Doug, that would be good.
Okay, I'll do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.